Never mind, we got everything going. All right, so to the person in the chat, you don't have to talk. So I do apologize. I'm using my phone as a second screen, so it's a little bit. I'm a little. My setup's a little janky. We'll put it that way. But thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody in between and beyond. My name's Jordy Coleman. You can call me Ginger Wolf, and welcome to our very second Let's Laugh. If you would like to watch our first one, it is on my channel. It is Gallagher, for better or for worse, whether you like him or hate him. So what we do here, first and foremost, is we kind of go through a little bit of the stand-up comic themselves, what they mean to me, how I know them, what I know them from, that kind of stuff. And then we play a comedy special of that person, and then later on I'll edit that out so that I can still post the live and have people kind of watch along with us and have a little bit of a great time. Now, with that all being said, I do have two little bits of housekeeping. First and foremost, coming up this weekend is the birthday party of a very special little girl. Her name's Brianna. She is my great niece. She'll be turning 6 years old, and I just want to take this moment to say, hello, Brianna, and happy birthday to you. I haven't forgotten about you. Unfortunately, I'm working on your birthday. And I haven't forgotten about your Christmas present either. I still have that. So, next time I get to see you, I'm definitely bringing you both your Christmas present and your birthday present. So don't think Uncle Crazy has forgotten about you. Number two, I am sorry I am starting this live stream a little bit on the late side. Predominantly because, well, had some personal things kind of come up and I completely lost track of time. So here we are, better late than never. I think that is the more important factor here. So I hope you guys are all doing well. Let's dive into some Janeane Garofalo. I have a Wikipedia article open here for her. I actually just realized I forgot my drink over on the other side of the room, so just give me one quick second. I'm going to grab that because I'm already getting a bit of a dry throat scratch. My apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between and beyond. I know it's a little bit unprofessional. Dealing with a couple things right now, so I'm not going to get into that and bore you guys, so I kind of had to do everything a little bit on the fly. Don't particularly like doing that, but first and foremost, the first movie I knew Janeane Garofalo from. This is kind of a two-sided story. First and foremost, you have Mystery Men. She played the bowler in Mystery Men, which was kind of an early version of we're seeing a lot of the almost parody versions of superheroes and superhero teams and the like. And Mystery Men was kind of the first on-screen interpretation of that. Yes, there was absolutely comic books that were doing it and stuff like that. The one that I think is not quite a parody, but a very alternate take that most people have on superheroes and stuff like that is the Max. The Max was a MTV show. It only ran for it only ran for one season, but it was a really good show. But as good as the show was, the comic book was even better. And even though Sin City claims that it was one of the first comic book adaptation movies to use the comic book panels as essentially the storyboard, the Max did that way earlier. But it was an animated TV show, and also definitely did not have the fan base. Now, the more important thing for me as far as Janeane Garofalo goes is that, and if you look at the thumbnail for this particular video, she was the main character, she played the main character in the movie Dogma, which to this day is still my favorite movie of all time. I absolutely love and adore that movie. Um, it is honestly, it's a very funny movie, which when you have people in it such as Carlin, Janeane Garofalo herself, Chris Rock, and then of course you have just the acting cast with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And at the time, a lot of people weren't really feeling Ben Affleck, but truth be told, I don't hate the guy by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he's a bad actor. I'm just not a huge fan of him. But I was looking through her Wikipedia page, and although being that she was in a movie with Kevin Smith, it should not be a super big surprise that she was actually born in New Jersey, because essentially there are four things Kevin Smith loves that aren't his family. And that's New Jersey, Canada, hockey, and making movies. And talking about just in general movies, really. So I don't know why that came as a surprise that she was from New Jersey, but yes, she was definitely New Jerseyan. Is that the correct terminology? Um, and I feel for Janeane as well because it says on her Wikipedia page, her mother passed away from cancer when she was 24 years old, and I I feel that I lost my mom a little bit younger than that, but I lost my mom, and that right there is reinforced evidence that essentially some of the best funny people unfortunately come from some sort of pain, especially early life pain. We learned that very harsh lesson when Robin Williams unfortunately passed away. But we're not here to talk about other comedians like that. We're here to talk about Janeane Garofalo. And truth be told, as far as stand-up comedy, she's been somebody who has been on my list of gotta check this person out 100% for years now. And for whatever reason, I've seen a couple clips of her stuff for sure, but I've never actually sat down and watched an entire special of hers. And that is honestly part of the reason why I started doing this Let's Laugh stuff, is just plain and simply to check out comedians that for one reason or another I haven't really watched a full special of. She did start coming up in the mid 80s, and that was really especially the mid 80s, was a golden year for great stand-up comics. So, in all honesty, I'm not sure if she's going to be able to hit the heights of what I'm expecting when it comes to a mid 80s stand-up comic. But in all honesty, I'm sure she's going to have no problem whatsoever. Um, she did come up. It is showing here that she started coming up in the pre-grunge era, and she's kind of stuck to that to a certain extent as far as looks go. Um, as it says right here, with a very mid 1980s style, disheveled with thick black glasses, unkept hair, her comedy often self-deprecating. She has made fun of popular culture and the pressures of women to conform to body image ideals promoted by the media. And truth be told, I first and foremost, I gotta say, I love stand-up comedy as a whole, but I especially love stand-up comedy, and this is the first chance I'm going to get to say this kind of thing, so bear with me when I say this. I love, and that encapsulates perfectly what I love about stand-up comics, like non-white male, like non-cisgendered white male, straight, heterosexual stand-up comics. Don't get me wrong, absolutely love guys like Bill Hicks and George Carlin and stuff like that. But getting different perspectives to me is the most important aspect of comedy. That comedy is essentially what the commoner, the common man, the common woman, what we're thinking about. And not sure if you've looked around, but not everybody is a straight white cisgendered male. So, but I especially love women in comedy because plain and simply you just don't get nearly enough female comedians. I do often wonder because I've often heard people say there aren't near as many female serial killers as there are male serial killers, and I'm wondering, maybe not necessarily a correlation, but I wonder if there's something to that statistic as to why there's not as many female stand-up comedians. Because trust me when I say I've met shit tons of really funny women. And I say that just because a few years ago there was a weird thing, and I don't even know exactly where it started, where people were saying female stand-up comics aren't funny. And I'm just like, I can give several examples of how that's not true. The first example I would give on that would be Caroline Ray. And the other one, and a Canadian one as well, is Nikki Payne. Both of them are fantastic female stand-up comedians. And in all honesty, they're both goddamn adorable to watch. Like, and I don't mean that in a downward, talking downward, but it's just plain and simply entertaining. But now that we've got that all covered, I think it's time for us to sit down, and my meandering and everything like that. I think it's time for us to sit down and watch Janeane Garofalo live at Gotham, or Gotham City Live. This is the most recent special I could find that is on, excuse me, that's on YouTube, and it's not even really that recent. It's not even showing me when, 10 months ago. So it's relatively recent, at least as far as posting. When it was filmed, I'm not 100% sure, but I do really enjoy Gotham Comedy Live. That is a comedy club that I personally would love to hit at some point or another. But now that's all being said, I think I've kind of given at least as good of an opening as I can to Janeane Garofalo. So without further ado, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy Janeane Garofalo's Gotham City Live comedy. Alright, I am so sorry, y'all. It just said Janeane Garofalo. Apparently that's actually not entirely the case. So we'll just do this. There, we'll do her 95 special. I thought this was going to be actually an actual special, so this is going to end up running a little bit on the longer side. But that was actually some great stuff on that. In all honesty, I love the dissidence she brought up with the we can take guns to school. We want to arm teachers and stuff like that, but we can't take peanuts into school. And I just want to comment on that super fast because as somebody, my niece and nephew, when they were going to school, we actually received a notice. We'll get back into this really quick, but we received a notice that, and I'm gonna have to put both of these in the bottom here. in the description when I edit this and post it. But we received a notice saying that the kids not only could not have nuts at school, which is something that I understand. I am somebody who is allergic to nuts, so I understand that. Trust me, it sucks. Um, and she's absolutely right. If I was thinking about getting a gun and I saw may have been made in a factory, I would. I'm not a gun nut as it is, but if I saw made in a factory that may be in contact with peanuts and tree nuts, I'd probably skip that one. Because I don't need to be hospitalized when I eat peanuts, but I get really itchy and I start vomiting, and all I'm saying is that you become a lot less threatening when you're scratching and puking all over the place when you're trying to hold a gun. I'm just going to be completely honest with that. Alright, that being said, this is just a quick little half-hour comedy special because we did already start everything, so we're going to get into this right now. Again, I apologize, I should have looked at that video a little closer, but it just said her, didn't say anybody else, so my apologies, very unprofessional. I'm still learning a lot about the live streaming aspect of YouTube, so again, I apologize, but let's get started on this one. Alright, and we are back. So again, I apologize for the live at Gotham thing, and so this, cut down a little bit of the time, but I apologize again for that again. Oh look, my live stream's actually popped up right here. That's interesting. So that was actually pretty good. It wasn't quite as hilarious as I was hoping it would be, but that it was actually it was really good. I liked how again, with older, because this is from 1995, with older material, it is going to be a little bit dated, but I do like watching comics that have been around for a while. I enjoy watching their older material and their newer material, but I like seeing where they came from. And oh boy, did they have! Was there a lot of very 90s references in this? We can kind of start with the speed. I'm surprised she didn't say anything about Keanu Reeves in that movie, because that was. I don't think that was his first movie, but I think that was at least the first movie I remember seeing him in. So, and the stereotypes on the bus was, yeah, if you're one to take public transportation, as I am one to do, then, yeah, you do see a lot of, really weirdly on the nose stereotypes on buses sometimes. Actually, in the area of the city I'm in, once in a while I will see a guy who is, and I'm not making this up, he's dressed in like a trapper outfit, like fur hat, like fur raccoon hat, uh, and like suede head to toe with like tassels and everything. Like literally looks like somebody you would, like an NPC from Red Dead Redemption. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. He's even got like the full like salt and pepper beard and everything like that. It's so that part probably became a little funnier to me than for most people seeing that. Um, One thing I do want to bring up on this is the fact that she was bringing up notes. Um, I understand the want to bring up notes. I've never been that person, and of course, it has bitten me a few times because I have forgotten like entire chunks of jokes because I didn't have notes on me. It doesn't happen so much anymore. Usually, it's like I'll forget a tag or something that goes into after the punchline. Once in a while, I'll forget a bit of a beat in the joke itself, but usually it's not something that's like tragic kind of thing. So I from a personal perspective, especially considering I tend to move around quite a bit, so there's no way, even if you set up a chair, because if that was me on stage and that was my chair, I would have a little case on it with all my little magic shit in it. So having notes like that just doesn't quite work for my act now, and I've always felt I don't feel this so much anymore, but I always felt it was a little bit unprofessional to have notes with you. And then I don't remember what special it was, but one of George Carlin's specials, he had notes as well. And George Carlin is kind of one of those, if he does it, it's no longer, a taboo aspect in the world of comedy to have notes and stuff like that. So, and I'm pretty sure it was after this. One of his specials, it was after it, because I seem to remember it being in full screen. I know the background was set up like a rooftop or something like that. So, but for me personally, I've never been one to take notes up on stage and really read off notes. Again, I felt it was unprofessional, but I don't necessarily feel that way anymore. But I'm at the point where it's kind of pointless to have notes on stage. I love that Mentos commercial thing. It was like, are they German? Now, if that joke was rewritten today, it probably would have gone. She probably would have said Russian, to be completely honest. Another thing I really liked was her talking about the whole body image thing. That was fucking hilarious. I don't know if it was her. I don't think it was, but I remember seeing another female comic talking about female fashion, and she was talking about like women's fashion has the concept of not just a one, like a size 1, but a size 0. Like, who the hell is size 0 for? Somebody who didn't quite make it out of utero? Like, what is that for? Size 0, in all honesty, it does frighten me. The fact that we have such a thing as a size 0. Like, if you're a full-grown human being, I don't think you should be wearing anything that has a 0 on it unless it comes after a 1, at least. But yeah, and I'm surprised she didn't talk more about like the general weirdness of fashion shows as well. Especially because, like we were talking earlier, or I was talking earlier about her kind of being more into the grunge facet of things, and just in general, like I saw some clips. I don't know what year it was from, but I saw some clips of some of the newer fashion, and it would literally look like people were wearing like condoms on their heads, like those were the hats. And it's like, this is all stuff that you're never gonna see an actual human being wear walking down the street, or at least I hope not. Because, oh man, maybe in New York, but yeah, that I'm surprised she didn't bring that up. She did, and I want to talk because you guys are listening to me right now, but I want to talk. But she did seem very rambly in it. I don't know if it was, and like this is a beautiful theater. You can still see it. It's actually tables and chairs as opposed to any like as opposed to like a standard theater. So it's a beautiful theater. Granted, it would hurt the seating capacity, but at this particular point in HBO's stand-up specials, I don't think they were going so much for huge capacities on their specials. I don't think they ever really have, because the more people there is, the harder it can become. Uh, just with the filming, because if you watch more modern stand-up comedy specials, a lot of times they will film people's reaction to a lot of jokes. and that does create, that adds a little bit to the comedy special overall, because it does feel like you're in a room full of people laughing at a comedy special, as opposed to this, um, as opposed to, not being with a bunch of people. Because comedy is best enjoyed with a group of people. Although I often enjoy comedy much like masturbation alone. So, um, the stalker thing, the guy with her face on his shirt. Now, if if she was a male stand-up comic and she saw that, it would be a very different story. But as a female comedian and you see somebody wearing your face on their shirt, because that was obviously one of those, he bought one of those iron-on things. So, you know, that was fucking hilarious. And the fact, but yeah, that kind of thing is really creepy, especially when it comes to female celebrities. So we were talking about not very many female comedians in the fold. That might be an additional reason why you don't see a lot of female comedians. Because holy snap and crap, I felt creeped out by that, and it wasn't even me that was involved. So yeah, just for the record, if you're gonna wear somebody's face on it, make sure it's at least their merchandise, because at least they got a little bit of money from that. Don't make a homemade shirt of that person, because damn, that was yeah, that kind of left me. I saved that for the end because wow, that was creepy. But yeah, um, no real big notes aside from the fact that it seemed very rambly. I mean, it is what it is. I can be very rambly on stage, but when it's a special, I kind of expect things to be just a little bit on the tighter end. Um, it does seem like watching that little bit of her from the Gotham before we got into this, it does seem that is kind of her style. Oh, also touching on that, she mentioned the whole her touching her glasses thing. That actually seemed very Rodney Dangerfield-esque. For those of you who know who Rodney Dangerfield is, he was a guy. He was always like playing with his tie and stuff like that. And I don't know if this has anything to do with hers, but with Rodney Dangerfield, that actually came from kind of an accidental thing where he actually tied his own tie a little too tight, and he just kind of ended up adopting it into his general mannerisms and stuff like that on stage, which worked incredibly well for him. I don't think that's what she was doing, but it kind of made me think about that. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. It was, not the best comedy special I've ever seen. Not even in a top 10 for the best comedy specials from the 90s in my opinion. But it was far from bad. It was definitely far from bad. Um, yeah, not really much else to say about that. I'm just going to look up Comedy Central's top 10 list and see who's going to be our next. I did have it. Like I said, I kind of popped into this. I was having a little bit, been having a little bit of a week to be completely honest, but was definitely having a bit of a day today. So, oh, we have Louis C.K. next. Well, that's going to be cool. So, a little touch on Louis C.K. and uh, I'll get into the elephant in the room next month when we do his bit, with the whole sexual misconduct thing and everything like that. I'll get into that on that one. But as far as Louis C.K. goes, um, I really do enjoy his stand-up comedy simply because a lot of his stand-up comedy is very deeply personal. And he's actually mentioned that and I'll probably say this again when we're watching him, but he's mentioned that before, that each special he tries to go a little bit deeper and a little more personal in with his stuff. And especially now, you can talk, like I say, not going to talk about what I think at this time about the sexual misconduct thing, but with his last special, yeah, in order to at least make an attempt, excuse me, make an attempt at overcoming his what's happened, I guess would be. Again trying not to voice my opinion at this time, but yeah, you definitely have to go extremely personal with yourself in that, and looking at it from the comedic perspective, realistically, it kind of gave him carte blanche to say a lot of things that maybe he had thought in previous specials that he didn't want to verbalize, because it's one of those, you've already done something that isn't the greatest thing necessarily. Again, trying to avoid an opinion on this one, but everybody knew about it. So at what point do you just kind of go, well, everybody knows this aspect of me, everybody knows this kink of mine. Um, what do you really have to fear at that point? You don't have a lot to fear if you're, in this case of Louis C.K., he already got canceled. So really he's just appealing to people who are essentially his diehard fans, and the people who sided with him, and the people that, even if they didn't necessarily agree with what he had done, that still really enjoy his comedy. So that's where I'm going to leave that for now, and that's also where I'm going to leave this. For anybody who is just joining us here at the end, the final Thursday of this month, I will be posting an edited version of this. So it won't have the specials in it, but it will have the links to all the specials, because I literally just pull everything off of YouTube. So that being said, now the last little bit of thing is that I will say one last time, happy birthday to Brianna. That is my great niece. Her birthday party is in a couple of days, and unfortunately I won't be able to go. So I wanted to make sure that she knew, even in this, that I was thinking about her, because she's sick. Well, she's almost 6, literally days away from being 6. So I really hope that you have the best possible birthday. And as for everybody else, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, fantastic rest of your week, fantastic rest of your month. And even though the year is just a little bit more than a month old, I hope you have a fantastic year. I hope this is your year. With that all being said, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, we do this the first Thursday of every month until we go through all of Comedy Central's top 100 stand-up comedians, some of which do not have live specials on YouTube, so unfortunately we will have to skip them, with, of course, the only hiccup in that being our December one. That is my birthday month, and so I am picking the comedian that we will be looking at, and that's going to be a hoot and a half. So with that all being said, thank you all so very much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Always remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do. You should probably stay away from most of the things I would do. And until next time, take care.